it technically, I think a best person would be Sheroz or any other mountaineer. But it's very difficult. I mean, it's horrible. Truly, it's horrible when you watch it on the video. Like how someone can, you know, just walk on a small ridge or small area and go traverse on the mountain. It's unexplainable.
Definitely, sir. I understand the technicalities would be left to Shehroz and other mountaineers for
Yeah.
that as well. But definitely, like we said, that it's a remarkable moment. Where do we see Shehroz going on from here, sir? What is the plan? We've talked about relevant departments supporting this field. It really requires more of a support from government, provincial departments, sponsors, and everybody that we know. But what is Shehroz's plan after this? Where do you see him going?
Well, he is going to Manaslu after a month time. He's going to attempt another 8,000-meter peak in September, I believe. So he has a plan of, his plan is a project 14 8,000 is. Like there are 14 peaks, above 8,000 in the world. I believe five in Pakistan and one in China and eight in Nepal. So what he wants to do, he wants to submit all of them by 2000, um, um, at the age of 23, like 4 years from now. If we see the youngest person in the world who has this record is 30 years old. That is from Nepal. So he wants to give a big margin to that person and bring it home. That
Definitely, sir. At this moment, I think from the team of Sports Extra, from PTV World, PTV in general, and probably from the entire nation, we really congratulate you, Shehroz, your
Yeah,
family, and
very
I think
much.
the entire nation is very proud of what he has achieved. Thank you so much for joining us, sir.
Thank you very much.
Right, that was the father of Shehroz, Kashif, Mr. Kashif Suleiman, who was talking to us regarding what he's been able to achieve. And I think the message is clear that the sky is definitely not the limit, it's even beyond that. So we'll be definitely taking a lot of inspiration and seeing that Shehroz excels even further and gives Pakistan some more records as well. Time now for a short break. When we come back, we'll be discussing Olympics and Pakistan's performance in general. Stay tuned. Welcome back to Sports Extra. Time now to discuss the Olympics Tokyo 2020 that are underway, and not just that, but Pakistan's performance in general is something to scrutinize. But we still have hopes, like I said, that there are many athletes who still would be competing for Pakistan under the Pakistani flag, and we still have hopes. Of course, the likes of Talha Talib have been an inspiration and a silver lining, but more is required from Pakistan when it comes to the Olympics. And discussing all of this, we've been joined on Sports Extra by somebody who's not just a senior sports journalist, but is an entire institution when it comes to sports in Pakistan. He's seen the glorious days of Pakistan sports. He's seen the days when they were down, and then, of course, rising from there as well is something that he would definitely want to see. He's none other than the very honorable and the great Mirza Iqbal Beg Saab. Sir, Assalamu alaikum, Beg Saab. Welcome to PTV.
Walaikum Assalam. Thank you so much for your compliments, for your kind introduction, Ahmed. I'm really grateful.
Beg Saab, you deserve every bit of it. We so much have to, take from you as an inspiration and also to give to you as well. We'll be continuing our discussion with Mirza Iqbal Beg Saab, but before that, we've got a report that documents Pakistan's progress so far in the Olympics. What is expected? Where have we, been there so far? Where have we been going as far as the medal tally is concerned over history as well? Let's just go watch this report and come back.
The Olympic Games are the world's biggest sporting festival. Pakistan first participated in the Olympic Games in 1948 and has sent athletes to compete in every Summer Olympic Games since then. And Pakistan athletes have won a total of 10 medals at Summer Olympics. The Tokyo Olympics 2021 commenced on 23rd of July at the National Stadium of Japan. Pakistan Olympic Association has sent a 22-member squad including 10 athletes and 12 officials. Arshad Nadeem will represent Pakistan in the javelin throw event at the Tokyo Games. Arshad will compete in the qualifying round of the javelin throw on 4th of August. The final will be on the 7th. Najma Parveen, the Pakistani sprinter, will compete in 200 meters competition on 2nd of August. This is the second time that Najma will be featuring in the Olympics on a wild card. Mahur Shahzad played 2 matches and lost in both for badminton. In the first match, he was defeated by Japan's Akane Yamaguchi. Pakistan's top-ranked and world number 133, Mahur, was facing world number 26, Christy Gilmore, in the second match. After resisting against the better-ranked player for 31 minutes, she went down 21-14, which eventually led to elimination from the race. Shah Hussain Shah Judo will be in action at 7 a.m. Pakistan Standard Time on 29th of July in the Judo men's 100 kilogram elimination round of 32. He will face Ramadan Darwish of Egypt. Gulfam Joseph, the Pakistani shooter hailing from Jhelum, was the biggest surprise entry in Olympics for Pakistan. He nearly missed out on a final spot at the 10-meter air pistol in Tokyo after scoring 578 points. In the qualifying round, Joseph was placed 9th, just one position below the qualifying spot. Ghulam Mustafa Bashir will be appearing in the men's 25-meter rapid-fire pistol event at the Tokyo Games on Sunday, the 1st of August. Khalil Akhtar, the flag bearer of Pakistan at the Olympics, will perform in the men's 25-meter rapid-fire pistol event also on 1st of August. Bisma Khan, coming from a family of swimmers, will be representing Pakistan in swimming's 50-meter freestyle women. She will compete in her event on 30th of July. Mohammad Hasib Tariq was contesting heats for men's 100-meter freestyle swimming. He finished 6th among 8 swimmers in this heat, while his overall position in the heats was 62nd out of 70 swimmers. Meanwhile, Talha Talib, representing Pakistan in the weightlifting 67-kilogram event, where he lifted 150 kilograms in snatch and 117 clean and jerk to accumulate a total of 320 kilograms. The 21-year-old weightlifter finished 5th in the competition. Although he couldn't win a medal, he received praise from all over the country for his superb performance and won the hearts of millions.
Right, that was a report that documents Pakistan's journey so far in this Olympics, and when we last won the medal is something really to worry about. Now, Beg Saab is still with us. Beg Saab, first of all, sir, I understand that there would be a lot of criticism, as there generally is when Pakistan does not do well in sports. But first of all, sir, because you're the most experienced person in this entire scenario talking about sports in Pakistan, where does the responsibility lie, sir? Do we just go towards the PSP? Do we believe that the Pakistan Olympic Association also has a role? Or do we just keep on saying that it's the athletes who are not well equipped?
Ahmed, there is a dilemma that after the induction of 18th Amendment, the Federal Sports Ministry was dissolved. And instead of Federal Sports Ministry, they have formed a Ministry of Inter-Provincial Coordination, and sports comes under that ministry, and all the 4 provinces, they have their own sports minister. I think that is the main reason, that is the downfall of sports in Pakistan, because of the 18th Amendment. and the sports policy, everything has gone into the background. And the main reason of Pakistan's deteriorating performance in sports is the parallel associations, parallel federations, which are damaging the game in Pakistan. And PSB and Pakistan Olympic Association, they are blaming each other. Yesterday, you must have seen a press release from Pakistan Olympic Association. Pakistan Olympic Association's president, Arif Hassan, has been there on the seat since 2004. For the last 17 years, what he did for the Pakistan sports. And in our country, democracy is there. People are talking about it, that how long is he going to continue as the president of Pakistan Olympic Association. On the other hand, we have, unfortunately, we didn't have any sort of a director general of Pakistan Sports Board for somehow some reasons. And now the new director, who himself has been a sportsman, he has taken the charge for the last 3 months. So I think that we must actually say that the government should intervene into it. Government should look into the matters, because the IPC minister, Dr. Fahmida Mirza, she's a seasoned politician, but she's not aware of the gimmicks of Pakistan sports, and that is the main reason. If she takes some you can say some sort of hard steps, then definitely we are going to get some glory in the sports. Except hockey, we haven't won any medals in the Olympic Games. We have won just one bronze medal in boxing. Hussain Shah, whose son Shah Hussain is going to participate in this Olympic in the judo competition. And beside that, in 16, there was a wrestler, Bashir Bhola Bala, who won the bronze medal for Pakistan. All the medals have come through hockey. And unfortunately, since 2 Olympic Games, Pakistan hockey is not participating in that. The Rio de Janeiro Olympics in 2016 and these Tokyo Olympics. So it's a dilemma for Pakistan sports. We have 22 million people in Pakistan, and everyone is, fond of sports, and sports is actually running in the blood of Pakistanis, because they are very fond of sports. But it's unfortunate, the situation is quite gloomy for Pakistan sports.
Very gloomy indeed, and like Beksab said, that this, it's a dilemma now. And like I said, we get upset because we're patriotic people. We love our sports. We see countries all around the world with a lower infrastructure than us getting medals. So it really hurts us. Iqbal bhai, another dilemma is that individuals in various sports have also used this platform for personal tours or personal gains. And I'm very sorry to say this. We even see this happening now, when somebody who is just not responsible for technicalities of coaching would just go on a tour with the Olympics team as a coach. Somebody who's the DG for a certain sports would go as a coach. So that really disturbs athletes as well, don't you think?
There are so many joy riders, Ahmed Nawaz, and these joy riders are waiting for such type of games, Olympic Games, South Asian Games, Asian Games. And although the performance of athletes is not good in those games, but they go on the joyride trip. You can take the example of Pakistan Weightlifting Federation's president, Hafiz Imran, but he has gone as a support staff. How can he go with the Talha Talib, who was actually blaming everyone that he didn't get the good opportunity, good facilities to enhance his skills? And on the other hand, Wajid Ali, who's the secretary of Pakistan Badminton Federation, he has gone as a support staff, as the manager. He is not a coach. And you were early mentioning that even those people who don't know the experience of coaching, they are going for the joy trips. It's really unfortunate. And there are, as you mentioned earlier in the show, that there are 10 athletes and 12 support staff. There is a chef de mission, there is a doctor, there is a COVID doctor, and there is a COVID lion doctor. There are 2 doctors who have gone to Tokyo. So it's quite unfortunate. Prime Minister Imran Khan should look into it, because he's a sportsman. He knows the sports of Pakistan, so he should look into it. He should stop these people going on the joyride trips.
Definitely. Iqbal bhai, what do you think is the solution now? Because, we have these problems that have been there since the ages. And like you mentioned, that Prime Minister Imran Khan, one of the most successful sportsmen of his generation, and for us as well now, is the Prime Minister. People have a lot of hopes. So if things don't get better now, they probably would never be, because like you mentioned, hockey is the sport that brought us many medals. Even hockey is in a very sorry state of affairs right now as well.
You are absolutely right. The solution of this is, Ahmed Nawal, that they should have a crackdown on the parallel federation. And they should get rid of those people who are just fond of going on the joyride trip, who are just fond of coming into the photographs, coming on television, coming on electronic media. These sort of people, they are damaging the sport. They are not promoting the sport. We should have a crackdown on that. There should be an operation clean up on these people, those who are having their seats for the last decade or more than a decade. So they should be accountable. They should be get rid of, those people should come forward who know sports, who can do something for Pakistan sports. Otherwise, you and me will be just saying all these things and nothing will be happening.
Definitely. Iqbal bhai, what word should be said about the athletes? We saw a very disappointing incident with Mahoor Shehzad a day before. Obviously, she has sent out a statement where she has apologized as well. But I understand she might be frustrated. I understand the politics between the players would be there, as they have been in Pakistan. But on a part of an athlete, when you're wearing your national colors, there is a responsibility that you have to take as well. So would you also like to comment that maybe they should also realize that they should be responsible enough?
Yeah, I think that because of the wild card entries and because of some connections, some people have got an entry into the Olympic Games, which is not fair. I think that we should go for those athletes who are capable of raising Pakistan's flag in international sports. Otherwise, we'll be humiliated like this, that she lost 2 matches on the trot, and there was a controversy when she was going there. Pakistan Badminton Federation has banned the national champion. There are so many controversies, and Talha Talib, the weightlifter from Gujranwala, he told in his story that he was doing training at a school in Gujranwala and he was not having good equipment for the preparation of the Olympics. So the athletes, they should also realize, and those people who are sending them, they should also realize. People say that Pakistan Olympic Association has become just a post office. They are sending the entries, they are sending their favorites, they are sending their blue-eyed people, and that is the main reason for the deterioration of sports in Pakistan.
Definitely, that would be the case. Iqbal bhai, thank you so much for joining us, sir. Always a pleasure and honor having you, and so much to learn from you always when you're on the show.
Thanks.
That was the great Mirza Iqbal Beg, senior sports journalist, talking to us regarding Pakistan's dismal performance in the Olympics. As Iqbal bhai said, that certain federations now need to be shut down. A crackdown needs to take place, and we should ensure that Pakistan sports flourishes under one banner, not as separate entities. We'll be coming back to Sports Extra with cricket on the top of the table right after this short break. Stay tuned. I'm not to discuss cricket. Pakistan up against the West Indies. The T20 series starts. Pakistan has won the toss. The news from Kensington Oval is that Pakistan would be fielding first. We'll be discussing all of this in studios. We've been joined by ICC match referee, former Test cricketer, and of course an institution of cricket. Whenever you talk to him, he's going to give you a lot of insights. But if you love golf, then you can also talk to him because he'll give you a few tips there as well. None other than the great Colonel Noshad Ali. Assalamu alaikum, sir. How are you, sir?
Fine, thanks very much.
Good to have you on the show, sir. Before we continue this discussion, of course, let's just take a look at the playing 11s that have been there for both the teams. Like we said, Pakistan has won the toss. They've opted to field first. This is Pakistan's playing 11. Sharjeel Khan, Mohammad Rizwan will be opening. Babar Azam has put himself to number 3, one down position. Mohammad Hafiz at 4. Fakhar Zaman at 5. Azam Khan at 6 gets another go. Shadab Khan, Hassan Ali. Mohammad Wasim Jr. is making a debut playing for Islamabad United, of course, in the PSL. A good enough bowler, Shaheen Shah Afridi. And Usman Qadir has been included in the squad, taking the place of Imad Wasim. Moving on to the West Indies, who have once again fielded an experienced side. Evan Lewis is there. Of course, this is the same side that beat Australia in the T20 series. Of course, they lost the one days. He's followed by Lendl Simmons, Christopher Henry Gale. You could not have a T20 without Gale, could you? Sherman Hetmeyer, Nicholas Puran, the wicketkeeper, Karen Pollard, the captain, Andre Russell, Dwayne Bravo, Hayden Wash Jr., Akil Hussain, the spinner, and Sheldon Cottrell. So a great balance in this West Indies side. I must say that if I just talk about this West Indies unit, then I really love the way they have found some balance. They were already aggressive, but a lot of balance from them as well. Sir, first of all, Kensington Oval. I want to talk about the ground in general, then we will move on. How about the ground, sir?
Well, if you go back to the history, it's a historical ground all by itself. There are many, many records on this ground. It's a beautiful island. There's a lot of entertainment, lot of hotels, holiday people coming from USA and some other places. It's a beautiful place as far as the West Indies is concerned. I mean, you know, it's a combination of many, many islands. Well. So it's a beautiful place to go and play cricket as well. I mean, most of the time it's sunny. It's weather where you have temperature 22, 24 like this. And for the cricket, I think the crazy West Indians, the crowd, everybody is loved cricket so much that if you have about 10,000 in the ground, you have 5,000 on the trees outside as well.
Definitely. Sir, there's more to West Indies cricket than the new generation knows.
Yeah.
Pakistan and West Indies have a real good history of cricket.
I think there are some similarity between Pakistan and the West Indies. I mean, somebody say that in a day Pakistan can do that much that people won't believe it, and there Pakistan can lose the match where people again cannot believe it. The same goes to the West Indies. So they are similar in nature as far as the game is concerned. But I must say this should be a very good T20 series between the two countries. They're from 5 they have reduced to 4. Doesn't matter. At Kensington Palace, players where they're playing the first test, I'm pretty sure that there's a lot of entertainment, a lot of cricket will be tonight.
Right, sir. We know that when it comes to T20 cricket, West Indies world champions multiple times. You cannot take them easy. They just beat Australia 4-1 in their series. Now they're facing Pakistan. It's a different challenge. Pakistan has won the toss. There's a lot of changes in the team as well. First of all, Sharjeel Khan has been given a go as an opener, and Babar has put him down to number 3. Can we say these are experiments that they are doing for the World Cup now?
Well, I think on paper, if you look at the Pakistan team, it looks very formidable. And Sharjeel Khan, he is a typical T20 player, even in the ODI player. He's there. I mean, at number 2, that will add to the flavor. And I'm pretty sure that Pakistan should play some good cricket, and same goes to the West Indies as well. They are outstanding as far as the bowling is concerned on their own soil, own pitches. So 1-1, it should be a good match, and I think Pakistan has done T2 matches. I'll not call them experiment, but I'll try to call them that they are trying their best to win this particular series.
So a great moment for this young lad of 19 years hailing from North Waziristan, and I'm talking about Mohammad Wasim Jr. He's played for Islamabad United, he's played for Pakistan under 19, Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, played 5 first class.
Yesterday I was clever, so I wanted to change the world. Today I am wise, so I am changing myself.
And as you're seeing on your screens, Prime Minister Imran Khan is present and he's attending the ceremony, and there's the balloting of 2,000 apartments that's taking place. And this is a computerized balloting of LDA apartments. Prime Minister Imran Khan is attending this ceremony as a chief guest, and this was the flagship project of PTI government. And right now on your screens, as you're watching, there's this computerized balloting of LDA apartments. And right now you're watching Prime Minister Imran Khan on your screens. He was present as a chief guest in a ceremony where computerized balloting of LDA apartments was taking place. We'll bring you more news. Stay tuned.
That believes that you need somebody like Fakhr or Sharjeel in the opening to utilize the 6 overs of power play better, and then you can put Babar at number 3. Technically speaking, sir, analyzing this from a technical perspective, what does work better for the team?
Well, I think Fakhr, I personally feel he suits more on number 3 or number 4. But and same goes to the Rizwan. I mean, Rizwan, of course, he's got a very good form right from the test matches to the T20. But I'll still prefer him to play again 3 or 4 or 5 and then keeping the wicket as well. On the other hand, Sharjeel Khan is a natural opener as far as the T20 is concerned. I mean, he can play any shot if on the up or along the ground if he wants to. But the only thing what I have seen is if he has hit 2 fours, he should wait for the third one. He doesn't wait for that. I mean, there should be some sort of patience, some sort of discipline also in his opening inning as well. Babar, no doubtly, he should go number 1. He should create the record. He rightly so. He has been creating a record, and he is a world-class cricketer.
So in the middle order, there is still some space because we're still opting for Mohammad Hafiz as the experienced option to be that glue between the youngsters and the senior lot. Azam Khan once again included at number 6, but there is still a debate open of whether Pakistan should go for Shoaib Malik in the World Cup or not.
I think Shoaib Malik, as far as the fitness is concerned, he doesn't lack anything. He still go down and stop the ball on the running.
Better than a youngster.
But he can do that. And he is experienced. He can guide the youngsters as well. He can guide even the captain as well. So same goes to Hafiz. But on the run of play, what I feel they should decide right now whether Shoaib Malik should be part of it. I'll recommend that if you are taking Hafiz, why not Shoaib Malik?
Sir, if I look at the playing 11, there's been a lot of debate about the inclusion of Usman Qadir not being there for the England tour. Maybe we should have him as a specialist spinner. People have tried to compare him with Shadab Khan. While we know Shadab can bat better, field and save some 20-30 runs for you as well. Now they've gone to include Usman Qadir in the side and also Shadab Khan, which I was claiming that both of them can be in the team. There's no problem at all. Because the World Cup is in the UAE and Oman, conditions that are going to be spin. What's the importance of having Usman Qadir as a leg spinner in the team, sir?
Listen, as you said, they could both be in the team. But you see, you have to look at the opposition. you have to look the particular pitch as well. I mean, UAE, there are three venues. Sharjah, Dubai and
Abu Dhabi.
Yes, sir. I mean, there are little bit of difference between these pitches. And if you look at that, if you look at the record as well, if you go to the Abu Dhabi pitch, it doesn't suit very much to the spinners. But on the other hand, if you go to the Dubai pitch, where the ball turns and turns slow as well, comes up as well, so there you can play the two spinners. And likewise, so if you have a pitch like, say, Sharjah, where a lot of runs come up, there is short boundary line, that you can have a bowler like Imad Wasim as well, opening the innings and bowling first few overs.
Definitely. So that being said, Pakistan has now decided to field against West Indies. So we know how destructive they are. What's a suitable total that Pakistan should look to restrict them to? Because obviously we have to chase, we have to be comfortable chasing a target now.
Well, I think on this pitch, like where you have little bit of easier batting, Pakistan should cross at least 160 or 170 mark. Then that could be a fighting score, but it's still not a safe score.
Still not a safe score.
Yeah.
So, sir, obviously you're going with Pakistan, I'm sure. Not if you pick from the voting.
No, I'll not say Pakistan. I'll say it's really a good contest, and anybody could be the winner. There looks to be the similar teams.
So, sir, as a golfer, you must love the bat swing of the West Indies. It's got to be the strongest in the world, probably. So we know that that can be the case. But Colonel Saab, thank you so much, sir, for joining us. Always an honor having you on the show. Now, if you want to catch the action, it's going to be live on PTV Sports in just a few minutes. Pakistan has won the toss. They're bowling first. Sharjeel is back in the side, as I think 80% of Pakistanis wanted. Mohammad Wasim Jr. is getting a debut. On the other hand, you've got the tough West Indies. So like Colonel Saab mentioned, I think I'll also take that it's going to be an exciting competition. All eyes now on the Kensington Oval, how this match progresses, but some quality cricket nonetheless. So that's it from me and the entire team of Sports Extra. Until our next show, it's goodbye for now.
Ayubia National Park, a wonderland of sky-touching trees, beautiful birds, and a wide variety of animals. Ayubia was declared a national park in 1984. It covers an area of 33 square kilometres. This park is full of flora and fauna. The forest park is home to 31 species of mammals, including the common leopard, rhesus monkey, yellow-throated martin and Indian porcupine. Around 203 bird species can be found in the park. The park's biodiversity includes 757 plant species. "19 species of reptiles and 650 species of insects. Ayubia National Park has a network of natural springs and freshwater streams, which besides adding to the scenic beauty, are important sources of water for the local communities. This park is a haven for the adventure-seeking tourist and nature lover. Various trails snake through the forest, which are ideal for hikers and bird watchers. In order to preserve this unique natural heritage, visitors are requested to follow the park rules. Do not litter. Littering destroys the beauty of the park and harms the fragile ecosystem. The garbage you leave behind ends up in streams and pollutes the water used by thousands of people in downhill areas. Do not uproot plants or trees. Do not kill or trap animals. Do not vandalise park property. Do not light fires in the forest. Dry pine needles are quick to catch fire, which can spread easily and destroy vast areas of the forest cover. Do not feed the monkeys. Monkeys are wild animals, and although they may look cute, close human contact can be dangerous. Monkeys carry diseases which can be transmitted to humans. Feeding them only encourages them to move closer to human settlements. The forest is home to animals and birds that are disturbed by loud sounds. You are a guest in the forest, therefore please respect its residents. This forest is a treasure trove of natural wonders. By following the park rules, you can play your role in preserving the natural heritage of Pakistan.
When one door of happiness closes, another opens. But often we look so long at the closed door that we do not see the one which has been opened for us.
It's time for Zuhur prayers in Rawalpindi, Islamabad. People in other parts of the country may offer their prayers according to their local timings.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد اللهم بارك على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما باركت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد
Sayings of the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wasallam. He who does not respect elders, does not have mercy on children, does not commend what is good, and does not forbid what is evil, is not one of us.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Good afternoon, Assalamu alaikum. You're watching PTV World. Joining you for the news at 1, I'm Ahmed Nawaz.
Now I'm Maheen Jaffrey. Let's take a look at the headlines first.
Prime Minister Imran Khan performs computerizing balloting of LDA apartments built under Naya Pakistan housing scheme. Prime Minister Imran Khan says Pakistan wants peace in Afghanistan more than any other country in the world, as peace in the region will give Islamabad an access to Central Asian republics. Foreign Minister Shah Mahmood Qureshi meets Deputy Prime Minister of Bahrain Mohammed bin Mubarak bin Hamad Al Khalifa in Manama. Says Pakistan is committed to promote trade and economic ties with Bahrain.
Federal Minister Asad Umar says COVID-19 cases are on the rise in the country and vaccination is the only mean to fight COVID-19.
Coronavirus claims 76 more lives, with more than 4,000 new positive cases reported in the country over the past 24 hours.
The first of 4 T20 internationals between Pakistan and West Indies were washed out in Bridgetown. PTV Sports is telecasting the entire series live.
China tops the medal table with 14 gold, followed by United States with 13 and host Japan at third place, also grabbing 13 gold medals. All the action from the Olympics is live on PTV Sports. And now for the news in detail. Prime Minister Imran Khan has performed the computerized balloting of LDA apartments. These apartments have been built under Naya Pakistan housing scheme. Balloting of 2,000 apartments out of 4,000 took place today. The government will give subsidy worth 300,000 rupees on each apartment.
Prime Minister Imran Khan has also said Pakistan wants peace in Afghanistan more than any other country in the world. Prime Minister, while talking to delegation of Pak-Afghan Youth Forum, said peace in Afghanistan will give Islamabad an access to the Central Asian republics. Premier said an agreement has already been signed with Uzbekistan for a railway line from Mazar Sharif to Peshawar, which will reach Pakistan via Afghanistan. The meeting was aimed at presenting the government's view in response to the questions raised by the members of Pak-Afghan Youth Forum about Pakistan-Afghanistan relations, Pakistan's efforts for sustainable peace in Afghanistan, as well as the overall situation in the region. Prime Minister said that all the future economic policies of Pakistan depended on peace in Afghanistan. He, however, added that recent statements from Afghan leaders blaming Pakistan for Afghan crisis was unfortunate because it was Pakistan which strived hard to convince Taliban first for talks with the US and then with the Afghan government. Imran Khan said he has held a consistent view that there is no military solution to the Afghan conflict. In reply to a question, he said India, through its unilateral August 5, 2019 action, violated the United Nations resolutions and changed the status of Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir.
Minister of State for Information and Broadcasting Farooq Habib has asked the Afghan media for positively projecting Pakistan's contributions for peace and stability in Afghanistan. Addressing the Pakistan-Afghanistan Youth Forum in Islamabad today, he said war is not a solution and we will have to give peace a chance. The Minister of State said Pakistan has always kept its doors and hearts open for the Afghan people. He said we are ready to play our role in the capacity building of Afghan media, including through training programs. Farooq Habib said both Pakistan and Afghanistan enjoy historic relations. He said peace in Afghanistan is in the interest of Pakistan and it will open up economic opportunities in the region.
Foreign Minister Shah Mahmood Qureshi said Pakistan is committed to promote bilateral cooperation with Bahrain in economic and trade sectors. Foreign Minister Shah Mahmood Qureshi expressed these views during his meeting with Deputy Prime Minister of Bahrain Mohammed bin Mubarak bin Hamad Al Khalifa in Manama. The two sides discussed bilateral ties, mutual cooperation in diverse fields, and regional and international affairs. The Foreign Minister thanked Bahrain for its support on FATF forum. Deputy Prime Minister of Bahrain Mohammed bin Mubarak bin Hamad Al Khalifa acknowledged Pakistani diaspora's role in development of kingdom.
Foreign Minister Shah Mahmood Qureshi has said Pakistan is focused on greater economic, trade and investment cooperation with Bahrain and other countries in the region. Addressing the second session of Pakistan-Bahrain Joint Ministerial Commission, the Foreign Minister said Pakistan greatly values its relations with Bahrain, which are deeply rooted in common faith, history and people-to-people linkages. Qureshi said there are great business and investment opportunities in Pakistan, especially under the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor.
Federal Minister Asad Umar says COVID-19 cases are on the rise in the country and we can only overcome the further spread by following SOPs. Addressing a joint media briefing with SPM Dr. Faisal Sultan in Islamabad, the Federal Minister said vaccination is the only mean to fight COVID-19. He said over 800,000 people were vaccinated tomorrow. Asad Umar said only vaccinated people to be allowed to travel by air from 1st of August. He also said that teachers will have to get themselves vaccinated before 1st of August to continue their responsibilities in the educational institutions. He further said that the vaccination will be a must for students up to 18 years of age, law enforcement personnel, transporters, drivers and officials in public offices from 31st of August. Special Assistant to Prime Minister Dr. Faisal Sultan briefing the media said COVID-19 cases are on the rise in Pakistan. He said that over 3,000 patients are in critical condition and also said the sudden pandemic spike in positive cases witnessed in Karachi.
76 more deaths due to coronavirus and more than 4,000 new positive cases have been reported in the country in the past 24 hours. Meanwhile, more than 59,000 tests were conducted, with the positivity ratio remaining at 7.53%. Death toll due to the pandemic in the country has now reached 23,207. Now, the coronavirus situation in Pakistan with the latest of figures is that 76 more lives have been lost, while more than 4,000 new positive cases have been reported in the country over the past 24 hours. During this time period, more than 59,000 tests were conducted, with a positivity ratio that remained at 7.53%. Overall death toll in the country due to COVID-19 has now reached more than 23,000. We also know that Federal Minister Asad Umar has also said that COVID-19 cases are on the rise in the country, and he said that we can only overcome the further spread by following SOPs. He once again urged people to get themselves vaccinated and also highlighted that vaccinations in Pakistan are achieving a record on daily basis, with over 800,000 people who were vaccinated yesterday. He said that only vaccinated people will be allowed to travel by air from 1st of August. This includes both domestic and, of course, international flights that are already following this SOP. He said that teachers would also have to get themselves vaccinated before 1st of August to continue their responsibilities at large. What he said was that if people are not vaccinated by 1st of August, they would not be allowed to either work or perform their duties in whichever field they are working in as well. They also said that they would support the Sindh government in its decisions to curb the spread of COVID-19 as cases in Karachi are on the rise once again, and said that all-out support would be given to the Sindh government in order to implement SOPs as well. They also said that vaccination will be a must for students as well up to 18 years of age, law enforcement personnel, transporters, drivers, officials in public offices from the 31st of August.
Pakistan will host the second trilateral conference of speakers of Azerbaijan and Turkey in 2022 to further deepening of the existing relations between the states. Decision was taken in first trilateral meeting of speakers in Baku, Azerbaijan. Speaker Asad Kaisar represented Pakistan in this meeting. Meeting underlined the importance of existing relations between Azerbaijan, Pakistan and Turkey. Speaker Asad Kaisar also held meeting with the President of Azerbaijan, Ilham Aliyev. Speaker proposed establishment of a trilateral forum to the Ministries of Commerce in order to enhance trade and commercial ties between the three brotherly countries. Azerbaijan President stressed that his country always stood by Pakistan on its just and legitimate stance over the issue of Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir, and reaffirmed that Azerbaijan would continue to extend its support at all international fora with regard to the issue of Kashmir.
Two-day Pak-Afghan media conclave has commenced in Islamabad, arranged by the Pak-Afghan Youth Forum. More details in the following report by our special correspondent Raza Khan.
Pakistan wants peace in Afghanistan, and this media conclave wants to enable communication between the media persons of Pakistan and Afghanistan in order to bring the people of Pakistan and Afghanistan closer. This was stated by Federal Minister for Information and Broadcasting Fawad Chaudhry, who was the chief guest on day one of Pak-Afghan Media Conclave. Pakistan's Federal Ministry of Information and Broadcasting and Institute of Regional Studies also collaborated with Pak-Afghan Youth Forum.
In this media conclave, we try to bring in the top tier and the second tier of Afghan media fraternity. They have come from all the spectrums, from the news journalism, from entertainment industry, and from even social media as well. The social media influencers are also here. The purpose is to create a bridge and a corridor where they can communicate with us and we can communicate with them.
This media conclave is an important role. Media is the fourth pillar of the state. Media has an important role in bringing the two societies together, in bringing positivity in our narratives. And I think this media conclave, I'm really happy to see that this has been supported by Ministry of Information, Government of Pakistan. They will also be calling on the Prime Minister. And I think such events, continuation of such events in future will bring lot of positivity to our mutual relations and narratives.
In the main discussion session, delegates from Pakistan and Afghanistan presented their perspectives on how to improve media-to-media linkages and people-to-people ties between Pakistan and Afghanistan. Mirza Masood Beg, in charge PTV World, spoke about the need for Afghan media to present the true face of Pakistan to the Afghan people. Asad Kosha, Afghan journalist, mentioned that Pakistani media needs to do the same with regard to the Afghani perspective.
So before coming here, I had a very different narrative about Pakistan and its people. But after coming here, the whole narrative has changed thanks to the media enclave. I've seen the positive side of Pakistan, and I've seen how positive people think, the Pakistani people think about Afghanistan and how well-wishers they are.
This initiative, which is known as this Pak-Afghan Media Conclave, it's actually a two-day media conference in which we have invited 14 prominent journalists from Afghanistan. Likewise, we have a prominent Pakistani journalist who will take part in this media conclave. The very purpose of this is that we should have a joint media platform between both the countries to build the narrative also, and also the perceptions which are very much important between the two countries, that they should carry good perceptions about each other.
This is a very good forum, bringing people together and especially utilizing media. Because when media actually plays a very important role, it's a very powerful medium. There are so many tools that can be used through media that we can change the misperceptions that exist. And we need, the people of Pakistan and Afghanistan need to see each other, not through the lens of, different people or their governments or their politicians, but through the people.
It is indeed a unique opportunity, and that media can play a very vital role in bringing the nations together, and there are a lot of misperceptions between Afghanistan and Pakistan, and that is the time, and this is the time to solve and to look differently at those problems. And media can play a very vital role to bring the two nations together.
Pakistan and Afghanistan are two countries that have a lot of similarities, whether it's cultural or linguistic or religious, and I feel that we have not given enough attention to that partnership in the past, and I do believe that these confidence building measures are necessary to make us a peaceful and cooperative neighborhood, and with that every country is going to flourish.
Day one concluded with the speech of Ambassador of Pakistan to Afghanistan, Mansoor Ahmad Khan, who spoke about Pakistan's desire for peace and progress in Afghanistan.
Pak-Afghan Media Conclave, arranged under the auspices of Pak-Afghan Youth Forum, is all set to bring the voices from Pakistan and Afghanistan closer to each other by removing the misperceptions. And this is the purpose. These two nations have to move forward, and they have to move forward with one voice, and that one voice can only come through removal of misperceptions and improvement in communication. This is Raza Khan reporting for PTV World.
On to international news now. Israel's defense minister shared the initial findings of Pegasus malware fallout with France, whose president was among the targets of spyware sold by Israeli company. Israeli Defense Minister Benny Gantz's office oversees commercial exports of cyber surveillance technologies. Pegasus had been used in attempted and successful hacks of smartphones belonging to journalists, government officials, and human rights activists. Israeli officials declined to identify the countries that own Pegasus.
5 Iraqi troops have been killed in a helicopter crash during combat mission north of Baghdad. According to the Iraqi military, the helicopter came down near Amerli in Salahuddin province, in an area where Iraqi troops have carried out repeated operations.
Twitter is shutting its reopened offices in United States while other big tech companies are making vaccination mandatory for on-campus employees as the highly infectious Delta COVID-19 variant drives a resurgence in cases. Google and Facebook said all US employees must get vaccinated to step into offices. Twitter has paused further office reopenings. US coronavirus cases have been rising due to the Delta variant, which emerged in India but has quickly spread and now accounts for more than 80% of US coronavirus cases.
A shallow 8.2 magnitude earthquake struck off the Alaskan peninsula, prompting a tsunami warning. United States Geological Survey said that earthquake hit 56 miles southeast of the town of Perryville, with a tsunami warning in effect for South Alaska and the Alaskan Peninsula.
Concerns about pollution and the environment could see drone displays replace fireworks as the light show of choice in the night sky. British drone display company Celestial flies as many as 300 drones in formation. They say the technology is developing so fast that it may soon be able to replace fireworks with high-quality flying images. Developments in swarm technology and artificial intelligence could eventually see drones creating high-resolution airborne images or emergency messaging services.
A massive forest fire in southern Turkey destroyed at least one village as homes and 4 neighborhoods were evacuated. Authorities said the flames have spread to the town center as well, where many buildings have been evacuated. Turkish prosecutors launched an investigation to determine the cause of the fire. President Tayyip Erdogan said his government hoped to put out the blaze without any casualties. Authorities could not immediately determine the cause of the fire. Now, Antalya, a popular destination for both foreign and local tourists, is known for its scorching summer heat that was set with extreme heat and strong winds there as well. Now, a cold wave in the southern Brazilian state of Rio has brought snow and cold rains to at least 13 cities. Tourists and locals used the opportunity to take pictures and play in São Francisco de Paula. According to the Met Office, temperature is expected to fall to -2 degrees Celsius.
The container ship Ever Given, which got stuck in the Suez Canal for 6 days in March, arrived in Rotterdam after being released by authorities in Egypt. The vessel, one of the world's largest container ships, became jammed across the canal in high winds on March 23rd, halting traffic in both directions and disrupting global trade. Roughly 15% of the world shipping traffic transits through the Suez Canal, the shortest shipping route between Europe and Asia. The 400-meter vessel, which is carrying more than 18,000 containers, left Egypt on 7th of July, 106 days after becoming wedged across a southern section of the waterway.
Kenyan wildlife authorities captured a lion that had wandered into a residential area in a town south of the capital, Nairobi. Kenyan Wildlife Service said members of the public alerted them of the lion's presence in the morning, prompting authorities to send rangers and vets to the site. The lion was successfully darted, immobilized, and safely transferred to the vet facility for observation before being released back to the park.
The first T20 international format series between Pakistan and West Indies washed out due to rain in Bridgetown. PTV Sports is telecasting the entire series live. Pakistan captain Babar Azam won the toss and elected to field in a rain-hit match reduced to 9 overs aside. Sent into bat, hosts posted 85 for 5 in 9 overs. Karen Pollard scored unbeaten 22. For Pakistan, Hassan Ali took 2, while debutant Mohammad Wasim Jr., Mohammad Hafiz and Usman Qadir took 1 wicket each. Rain once again returned after the West Indian innings, and umpires, after inspecting the ground, decided to abandon the match. Second of 4 T20s will be played on Saturday in Providence.
Fast bowler Hassan Ali has completed 50 wickets in his T20 international career. Hassan Ali completed the milestone by claiming 2 wickets in the first washed-out T20 against the West Indies. Hassan has so far bagged 51 wickets in 38 T20 internationals. 4 for 18 is still his best figures in the shortest format.
All-rounder Mohammad Wasim Jr., touring the Caribbean, was handed his T20 international green cap as he made debut in a match marred by rain against West Indies. Legend and national bowling coach Waqar Younis gave Wasim his green cap amid cheers from his teammates. Mohammad Wasim was a standout player for Islamabad United with 12 wickets in 11 matches in the recently concluded Pakistan Super League 6.
Sajid Ali Satpara, the son of legendary mountaineer Muhammad Ali Satpara, has retrieved the body of his father, who went missing while attempting to summit K2 in February this year from Bottleneck and secured at Camp 4. Ali Satpara, along with 2 colleagues, John Snorri Sigurd Johnson from Iceland and Juan Pablo Mor Prieto from Chile, were declared dead on 18th of February, nearly 2 weeks after they went missing on the Savage Mountain. An official Twitter account of Team Ali Satpara said Sajid has fulfilled his duty as a son and has secured the body of our hero at Camp 4. It further said Sajid single-handedly not only retrieved the body from a dangerous slope, but also managed to bring it from Bottleneck to C4. An Argentinian climber had helped him in the operation. China's Shi Jiong broke his own world record to win the men's 73-kilogram weightlifting event at the Olympics and claim a gold medal for the second games in a row. The 27-year-old lifted a combined 364 kilogram to better his own world record of 363 set at the 2019 World Championships. Venezuela's Julio Ruben Mayoro Pernia won a silver with a lift of 346 kilograms. In a surprise turn, Indonesia's Rahmat Arwan Abdullah, who competed in a division with lower weight entries, won a bronze by lifting 342 kilograms in total. The first Olympic gold medalists in 3 versus 3 basketball were crowned in Tokyo, with the United States victorious in the women's division and Latvia taking the men's top honors, both coming with wins over Russian teams. US team stacked with WNBA talent defeated the Russian Olympic Committee 18-15. Stephanie Dolson of Chicago Sky led in scoring with 7 points. Capping a back and forth match, Carlos Lasmenis hit a 2-point jumper to seal men's victory for Latvia over the Russian Olympic Committee 21-18. Along with skateboarding, surfing and sport climbing, 3x3 has been added to these games in an effort to broaden the spectacle's youth appeal. French President Emmanuel Macron and US First Lady Jill Biden cheered off their compatriots on the first day of the women's tournament.
The gold rush is on, and Tokyo in China has its nose in the front once again with 14 gold, 6 silver and 9 bronze medal. USA is close behind with 13 gold, 13 silver and 10 bronze, and host Japan also has 13 gold, 4 silver and 5 bronze and is at third position. Russian Olympic Committee and Australia has 7 gold each. Britain has 5, South Korea has 4, while Germany and France have 3 gold each.
Monsoon downpours are intermittently lashing different parts of the country, including Islamabad, upper parts of Punjab, Khyber Pakhtunkhwa and Azad Kashmir. A spokesperson of the Met Office has said that the highest rainfall of 123 millimetres was recorded in the federal capital Islamabad, followed by 103 millimetres in Sialkot and 56 millimetres in Kotli. The spokesperson said this spell will persist during next 3 days. According to Rescue 1122 Rawalpindi, teams have been deployed in low-lying areas of the city to deal with any emergency situation. According to the ISPR, heavy rains caused high water levels in Nalalay and water accumulation in Sector 11 of Islamabad. Army troops are busy in assisting civil administration in rescue and relief efforts. ISPR said contingency plans are in place to meet any flood situation.
Capital Development has directed all its employees to remain alert for 1 week after Federal Capital receives 330 millimetre rain. According to CDA spokesperson, the district administration and CDA teams launched relief operations in morning and drained water from all the roads. Capital Development Authority has also established a control room which will be operational round the clock. CDA teams took part in operation to depump water from a private housing society in E11 sector. Housing Society has also been issued a show cause notice on poor management.
In Mardan, at least 2 children have been killed and 2 were injured when the roof of their house caved in due to high winds and heavy rain. Spokesman of the Provincial Disaster Management Authority said 1 house was completely destroyed and 1 was damaged due to massive rains. Relief and rescue teams are on a high alert to meet any untoward incident following the harsh weather conditions.
Well, this was all for now. For more details and live streaming, log on to our website world.ptv.com.pk. You can find PTV World page on Facebook and also follow us on Twitter handle @WorldPTV. From Ahmed and Maheen, it's goodbye for now.
Shahdara is the main entry point to Lahore from the north. It lies on the right bank of the river Ravi, across the ancient city. Soon after the Mughals conquered India in 1526, it became a site of architectural and political activity, and a number of wonderful gardens were built here. Shahdara means King's Way, had two purposes. One, to have a halting place for the royal camp on its way to Kashmir, Kabul, or the hunting grounds of Sheikhupura. And the other purpose of these gardens outside the city was recreation. First ever mention of the gardens at Shahdara is found in 1607, when Emperor Jahangir made a stop here on his way to a hunting trip. At that time, the garden was known as Dil Amez. Emperor Nuruddin chose the title Jahangir for himself, meaning the conqueror of the world, when he was coronated in 1605. In 1611, the emperor married Nur Jahan, meaning light of the world. Inspired by her unmatchable beauty, Emperor Jahangir presented the magnificent gardens at Shahdara to his beloved empress as a gift. And from then on, the gardens were called Bagh-e-Dilkusha, garden that pleases the heart. After the 17th century, Shahdara experienced an extraordinary transformation when the emperor was buried here after his death in 1627. Shahdara's character changed from a site of pleasure gardens to a royal funerary landscape. Nur Jahan herself designed and built the magnificent mausoleum for her late husband. It was built in Mughal style, influenced by Safavid architecture from Persia, reminiscent of the empress's Persian lineage. Construction on the building started in 1627 and took 10 years to complete. The mausoleum's facade is made of red sandstone, inlaid with white marble motifs. Four octagonal minarets rise from each corner of the building, decorated with geometric inlaid stones, and are divided into 3 sections. The tomb forms the base, upon which the body of the minaret rests, topped by white marble cupolas. Jahangir's great-grandfather Babur chose to be buried in a tomb open to the sky. Jahangir's tomb broke away with this tradition by including a roof. The perimeter of the mausoleum is lined by arcades. And the building is divided into a series of vaulted compartments which are richly embellished with Mughal beyond fresco. One of the finest specimens of Mughal architecture, the tomb is the result of Nur Jahan's vision. At the center of the mausoleum is an octagonal chamber lined with carved marble in which the remains of the Mughal emperor rest in a crypt. The cenotaph is constructed of solid white marble inlaid with fine Petra dura in a floral pattern. And black marble inlay with the names of God in Arabic, which is a common theme in Islamic mysticism. Carved screens called jali admit light in various patterns, facing toward the Muslim holy city of Mecca. The mausoleum is set in a large quadrangle with all four gates facing each of the cardinal directions. Each of the four squares is further divided into smaller squares with pathways. Entry to the quadrangle is via the western edge through the Akbari Sarai. Located between the tombs of Jahangir and Asif Khan, the inn, known as Akbari Sarai, is a large sarai built during the reign of Shah Jahan. The open courtyard of the sarai is flanked on all sides by a raised terrace and rows of 180 cells. To the west of the palace, in the middle of the cell rows, is a mosque. With 3 domes. It is clad in red sandstone with decorations. Asif Khan was the brother of the Empress Noor Jahan and governor of Lahore. He was also buried in the complex in 1641. In 1799, with the capture of Lahore by Maharaja Ranjit Singh, the complex grounds were desecrated irreparably. The pillaged complex was converted into a cantonment of one of his foreign generals, who used to live here with his soldiers. The tomb of Asif Khan was built entirely of brick. Its exterior was originally adorned with marble stone and veneered with stucco tracery and blue Kashi tiles, typical of Lahore. The bulbous dome that crowns the tomb is an innovation of Shah Jahan's era that gave inspiration for later Mughal buildings such as the Taj Mahal. The interior was renowned for its lavish use of white marble, which has since disappeared. The tomb contains the marble cenotaph, carved with Quranic inscriptions. The inner dome ceiling is decorated in a high plaster relief of interlacing patterns. The tomb is of octagonal plan, where each side has an alcove, with a door and arched window looking into the tomb. Despite its simplicity, the architecture and engineering of the tomb renders it one of the most fascinating monuments in the neighborhood of Lahore.
So archaeology is study of the past through its material remains. Study of archaeology is different from study of history, because for study of history you depends mainly and only on written material, whereas for study of archaeology you have to study what has been left materially by the people of the past. For any country, their past is known through their monuments and through their archaeological discoveries, you see. Conservation of standing monument is as important as discovering new monuments, discovering new archaeological sites, discovering new material. Conservation is only an attempt to continue the existence of a particular monument.
Noor Jahan, the Empress, went on to live another 18 years after Jahangir. She spent later years of her life in Lahore, away from the worldly matters. She oversaw the construction of her final resting place during her own lifetime. Unlike Emperor Jahangir, her mausoleum is the embodiment of simplicity and modesty of her character.
छः माह तो हुआ है, लेकिन अभी आपको मालूम है कि जो आलमी इदारे हैं वो आपको पोलियो से पाक तब सर्टिफाई करते हैं जब चंद साल गुजर चुके होते हैं, 3 साल गुजर चुके होते हैं इस मामले को। तो ये अच्छी प्रोग्रेस है, लेकिन इसमें अभी रास्ता बाकी है। अब अगले रास्ते को तय करने के लिए क्या चीज़ें चाहिए? सबसे अहम कि हाई क्वालिटी यानी आला मेयार की कैंपेन्स हों और उन तमाम जगहों में हों जहाँ कहीं पॉकेट्स, यहाँ कहीं बचा कुचा वायरस रह गया। तो ये खैबर पख्तूनख्वा में इस कैंपेन का आज से आगाज़ हो रहा है। इसका बड़ा आप नाम देते हैं सब नेशनल इम्यूनाइजेशन डेज़, लेकिन कहने का मकसद ये है कि ये वो कैंपेन्स होती हैं जो सारे मुल्क में नहीं होती, लेकिन चोज़न जगहों के ऊपर होती हैं, जिन जगहों का चुनाव किया गया होता है, जहाँ इजाफी मेहनत की ज़रूरत है। तो KP में, खैबर पख्तूनख्वा में ये आज से शुरू हो रही है और बाकी कैंपेन जो है वो मुल्क भर में ये मुल्क के जो बाकी हिस्से हैं वहाँ 2 अगस्त से शुरू होगी। तकरीबन 1,80,000 लोग इस कैंपेन में हिस्सा लेंगे। आप सोचिए कि कितने सारे लोग, ये 2.25 लाख से ज़्यादा लोग हैं जो हर घर जाके, जिन जिन इलाकों में कैंपेन होगी वहाँ हर घर में जाके दरवाज़ा खटखटाएंगे और पोलियो के कतरे देंगे। 68 डिस्ट्रिक्ट्स हैं और इनमें 5 साल से कम बच्चे जो हैं उनको करना है। और ये बड़ा वेल ट्रेंड स्टाफ है। इनको मौजूदा वबा, यानी ये जो कोविड वाली वबा है, इससे अपने आप को बचाओ वगैरह की तमाम तरकीबें जो हैं उनसे, उनके बारे में आगाह किया गया, ट्रेन किया गया। मैं एक थोड़ा सा इस मौके पे इम्यूनाइजेशन का जनरली जिक्र कर दूं। देखिए, कोविड की कल इम्यूनाइजेशन की डोजेज़ लगीं और हम 8.5 लाख डोजेज़ हमने एक दिन में लगाई और 28 मिलियन से ज़्यादा टोटल डोजेज़ उधर दे चुके हैं। तो इससे वाज़े होता है कि हमारे मुल्क में लार्ज स्केल के ऊपर पब्लिक हेल्थ इंटरवेंशंस करने की, ये सेहत आमा की जो तमाम कैंपेन्स हैं इनको करने की ना सिर्फ काबिलियत मौजूद है बल्कि हाई वॉल्यूम पे करने की काबिलियत और हाई क्वालिटी के साथ करने की मौजूद है। तो मैं एक तो सबसे पहले मेरे ख्याल से उनका शुक्रिया अदा करना है जो सबसे दूर जाके अपने आप को मुसीबत और तकलीफ़ में डाल के, बसा औकात कभी ख़तरे में डाल के ये कैंपेन्स करते हैं। मेरे ख्याल से एक तो आफरीन है उनको और उनको शाबाश। दूसरा ये है कि ज़ाहिर है वो काम ना कर पाएँ अगर जो प्रोविंशियल लीडरशिप्स हैं, जो डिस्ट्रिक्ट के अंदर एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन है, जो सारी हमारी इंतज़ामिया है, अगर वो इसमें अपना भरपूर तावन ना करे। तो मैं फिर से तमाम सूबों के चीफ मिनिस्टर साहिबान जहाँ जहाँ ये कैंपेन्स हो रही हैं, उनके चीफ सेक्रेटरी साहिबान, उनके हेल्थ की लीडरशिप, हेल्थ सेक्रेटरीज़, हेल्थ मिनिस्टर्स और दीगर लीडरशिप जो मौजूद है, इवन मिलिट्री लीडरशिप उसके अंदर शामिल है, उनको सेफ्टी और सिक्योरिटी प्रोवाइड करने के लिए उनका भी शुक्रिया अदा करना चाहता हूँ इस कैंपेन को बनाने में। और ये बताऊँ, ये आजकल मुश्किल कैंपेन्स हैं, क्यों एक वक्त कोविड भी चल रहा है, साथ ये भी कैंपेन है। तो एक आखिर में वो तमाम इदारे जो ग्लोबल पोलियो इरेडिकेशन का इनिशिएटिव है, वो ऑर्गेनाइजेशन, आलमी इदारा सेहत यानी WHO, वर्ल्ड हेल्थ ऑर्गेनाइजेशन, रोटरी इंटरनेशनल, जो रियासत है मुत्तहदा अमेरिका USA की जो CDC है, सेंटर फॉर डिजीज़ कंट्रोल, यूनिसेफ, बिल एंड मेलिंडा गेट्स फाउंडेशन, ये वो तमाम आलमी इदारे हैं जो इस कोशिश में हमारे शाना बशाना खड़े रहे हैं। दे हैव स्टूड shoulder to shoulder with us and supported our campaign. So we're very, very grateful to all these entities that have brought us this far, and inshallah, I think this ought to be the final.
Ayubia National Park is located in the lush hills of the Galiat forests that stretch from near Islamabad to Abbottabad and through to Azad Kashmir. It is a sanctuary traditionally known for its spectacular scenery and its unspoiled, peaceful surroundings. But in the last few decades, that has changed. Every year, more than 120,000 tourists visit the park in the summer season. The area has become increasingly popular and is now bustling with traffic and large-scale development. Where there were trees and streams, there are now hotels and shops. The fumes emitted from vehicles affects not only trees and plant life, but also the wild animals that live in the forest. The large number of hotels, summer houses and restaurants brings its own set of problems. The careless disposal of waste by these hotels and restaurants threatens the fragile ecosystem of the park. Garbage and contaminated streams are to be found all along the once pristine trekking routes. This solid waste and contaminated water has become a serious threat to the environment. Much of it is non-biodegradable, and the rest decomposes at a particularly slow rate due to the cold climate. The garbage can harm the animals of the forest too, as they forage for food. Where there were once streams of crystal clear water, there are now rivers of garbage. The polluted water affects communities downstream who have to go further from home every day to find clean water. Waterborne diseases force the local people to spend money on medical care, which they can hardly afford. All this pollution contributes daily to the degradation of the forest, and Ayubia is under threat. Both visitors and local communities need to be aware of the harm the waste and pollution is causing. The lack of proper waste management makes the problems worse. All this waste pollutes the forest and harms animals and humans alike. If we don't change the way we treat the forest, there will soon be no sanctuary left. Nothing for the visitors to enjoy, nor for the mountain communities that have made Ayubia their home for generations.
Good afternoon, assalamu alaikum. You're watching PTV World. I'm Ahmed Nawaz. Let's take a look at the headlines. Prime Minister Imran Khan performs computerized balloting of LDA apartments built under Naya Pakistan housing scheme. Prime Minister Imran Khan says Pakistan wants peace in Afghanistan more than any other country in the world, as peace in the region will give Islamabad an access to Central Asian republics. Foreign Minister Shah Mahmood Qureshi meets Deputy Prime Minister of Bahrain Mohammed bin Mubarak bin Hamad Al Khalifa in Manama, says Pakistan is committed to promote trade and economic ties with Bahrain. Federal Minister Asad Omar says COVID-19 cases are on the rise in the country and vaccination is the only mean to fight COVID-19. COVID-19 claims 67 more lives with more than 4,000 new positive cases reported in the country in the past 24 hours, with 76 more deaths. The first of the 4 T20 internationals between Pakistan and West Indies washed out in Bridgetown. PTV Sports has all the action live. China tops the medal table with 14 gold, followed by United States with 13 and host Japan at third, also grabbing 13 gold. All action of the Olympics is live on PTV Sports. Those are the headlines for now, but for their details and live streaming, log on to our website. You can also log on to our social media handles. Stay tuned to PTV World.
Hello and welcome to Politics Today. I'm Farooq Petafi. Once again, we are going to talk about politics of Pakistan, especially after Kashmir elections. We have seen a by-election today in PP 38 Sialkot, a seat that was vacated because of the death of one MPA from PMLN. It seems that PMLN has lost that seat as well. Why would that be? It is a big question. At this moment, I am just using the reports from the media. Remember, we cannot say with confidence till the time that the formal result comes, the final result comes. But having said that, there are aspects which are important because it is thought that PMLN is going through a phase, a crisis of image. It might be because of Nawaz Sharif's meeting with Hamdullah Mohib, the Afghan National Security Advisor, or for that matter, the episodes that took place on the election day on Kashmir, during Kashmir elections. But that is not all. We are going to talk about that. We are also going to ask who is leading PMLN right now, because everyone, and I included, were under the impression that Shehbaz Sharif leads the party. But in Kashmir, we did not see him taking the front seat. We didn't see him addressing any public rallies. So what exactly is going on? Is it the division which is going to eventually split the party? Then we are going to talk about the issue we discussed briefly yesterday as well, and that is the 2 vacant seats in the Election Commission of Pakistan, because that is also important. Last time there were seats vacant in the Election Commission. It took the government and opposition and the entire system almost a year to resolve the issue, and in the end it had to go to the court and then come back to a committee, and that actually solved the issue. I'm going to introduce the panelists also in a short while, but before I do that, our team has prepared a report for you. Let us watch that, and then we are going to talk about all these matters. Right, there seems to be some technical issue. We will try to resolve the matter, but till that time, let me introduce the panelists I've got in the studio and on Skype. In the studio, I'm joined by Javed Sadiq Saab, who's a senior journalist, anchor, analyst, columnist, editor, whatnot. Thank you very much, sir, for being part of the program. Next to him is Barrister Umar Malik, who is a legal expert, joins us on in the studio. Thank you very much, sir, for being part of the program. On Skype, we are joined by Barrister Abdullah Mumtaz Kahlu, who is a young leader of Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf, the ruling party. Qazi Saeed also joins us. He's a senior analyst, senior journalist. Thank you very much, Qazi Saab, for being part of the program as well. Let me start with the studio. Let me start with Javed Sadiq Saab. What is becoming of PMLN? What is eating PMLN right now?
I think PMLN's two-pronged strategy is not working.
Okay.
It looks. Because
two-pronged as in good cop, bad cop, or something else?
I think on the one hand, the PMLN adopted a very aggressive policy towards establishment and towards the government of PTI.
Right.
And they adopted a policy of head-on collision with the government and the establishment.
Right.
And this slogan, "Vote ko izzat do," this was coined, and it gained currency, of course. It became popular.
Right.
But at the end of the day, it did not benefit PMLN.
Right.
And the second prong was led by Mr. Shehbaz Sharif, the former chief minister, and now
the good cop.
A good cop, an opposition leader in the National Assembly.
Right.
And he was of the view, and from the very beginning, he was of the view that the party should not take a confrontational line towards the establishment of Pakistan. But the party head, Mr. Nawaz Sharif, the former Prime Minister, and his daughter, Maryam Nawaz, they said that the strategy of reconciliation and having some sort of understanding with establishment is not going to produce positive results from the context of the PMLN.
With due respect, Javed Sadiq Saab, if reconciliation of any kind is bad, what is Mian Nawaz Sharif doing abroad? Why is he not behind bars inside the country?
But, you know, he's being
so he left under some kind of
advised by the political observer, the neutral observers, that he should come back and face the situation here, and he should face the courts. Should be facing the establishment, all the odds that are accompanied or that are a part of this political drama. He should face it, but he is not coming back.
Right. So, naturally, the argument is weakened by this.
And the way he maneuvered his journey from Pakistan to UK has also raised very serious questions.
Yeah, and that actually implies there's some kind of understanding between the powers that be. Let me bring in Barrister Umar Malik Saab. Barrister Saab, your take on political side of the matters. I understand that your forte is essentially the legal aspect, and I'm going to actually shortly come to that as well. But at this moment, do you think that opposition parties, by dividing themselves, are giving the ruling party comfortable way forward?
Well, I think now all the political parties, they are moving towards the next election, which will be 2023 elections.
Yeah.
So now, if the parties, they are looking towards the situation that if they make a they make an alliance with some other political parties, that might affect their vote banks. For example, if we see if we look at the situation in Punjab, so if in Punjab the PMLN and People's Party, if they start working together, their voters, they do not make any alliance, and they do not like each other. They do not work with each other. They are always like situation that there is a Pakistan People's Party and PMLN workers, and a strong opposition between them as well. So now I think the political parties, they are more looking towards the next election rather than going for the.
If their voters don't like them taking any kind of malleable position, a soft position, why is it that they are not showing up on the election day? For example, PMLN from 31 seats in Kashmir, and Kashmir is thought to be very close to PMLN's own agenda, right? All of a sudden, it seems a fall from grace. 6 seats.
Well, I think
People's Party did better.
Yeah, you're very right. Like the ruling party should have at least gone to the 15 seats, or maybe like that. But if we see last 3 elections, we see that Pakistan People's Party was on national level here, and then the elections were held in Kashmir, and then they won. And then PMLN, they were here in the center, and then they won the election in Kashmir. So the ruling party always has an edge. So that we have to accept that.
No,
but
I understand. My concern is
are very
that whatever the narrative, and no matter from where they are getting the advice, it doesn't seem to be working. But right, allow me to actually bring in Qazi Saeed Saab. Qazi Saab, your take on Kashmir elections and PP 38. Why do you think PMLN, which was actually performing better in Punjab in the by-elections, all of a sudden seems to be losing its own seat, and in Kashmir also it seems to have lost a lot of steam? Qazi Saab. Qazi Saab, you'll have to unmute your mic. We can't hear you. Qazi Saab. Right. There seems to be some technical glitch. Let me first bring in Barrister Abdullah Mumtaz Kalu. Barrister Saab, now that your party seems to be winning again, you won in Gilgit-Baltistan, in Kashmir also, and now it seems that even in Punjab by elections you are doing better. What exactly is going to be the nature of your policies? Is there going to be any shift, because you have already spent 3 years out of 5 years of your term, and it seems that now everything is preparation for the next election? Please go ahead. Barrister Kalu.
Thank you, Patafi Saab, for having me on your show. This is a very interesting question. Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf has done incredibly well in Gilgit-Baltistan, Azad Jammu Kashmir, like you mentioned. It's also starting to win back the by-elections in the Punjab. And the reason why that has been is because of the economic turnaround that has been in effect since this year. This year has seen growth rate of 4%. Remittances are at all-time high. Exports have gone up as well. So much of the picture of doom and gloom that has been painted by PTI or my government's detractors has suddenly been turned upside around. And the problem that the opposition parties are having is to maintain a narrative that remains popular with the people of Pakistan. And as for the policies of Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf, as you've seen with the budget this year, Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf is wanting to implement a people's-friendly budget to ensure that people in all stratas of society, especially the ones at the lowest end, are the ones that are most accommodated. And you can see that from the social welfare programs that are also in full effect, such as the Asas program, the Langars, everything that we're doing. We're trying to make sure that the weakest amongst us are able to stand tall in Pakistan society. That is the essence of
Barrister
the
Sahab, I hear what you're saying, but inflation still remains a concern. Today, the prices of essential items actually went up even in the utility stores. So there needs to be some kind of focus on these matters as well. Is it not true?
Indeed, you're very right. Inflation has been something that the government has been trying to tackle for the best part of the past 2 years. But then again, if you look at inflation across the world, inflation has hit all of the countries, even the most developed countries in the world. And part of the reason was due to the coronavirus pandemic. However, you're quite right that inflation is one of the last and most important agendas on Prime Minister Imran Khan's agenda. And he wants to tackle that. Inshallah, by the year's end, we will be able to tackle inflation as well and ensure that people are able to get their value for money on basic food items and other items.
Right. Barrister Saab, I'm going to come back to you in a short while. Meanwhile, if you can do us a favor, you are sitting almost in dark, so I couldn't make out your features. If possible, kindly do something about your face light till the time we come back. There must be some light in front of you that can be switched on. Let me go to Qazi Saab. Qazi Saab, you have seen PMLN's performance in the past 10 by-elections, and there's a by-election today, and we saw a performance in Kashmir as well. What do you think is undermining PMLN? Its own internal divide or something else is going on? Qazi Saab.
I said there is not a great turnaround in the lives of, and we have seen the candidates. Of course, going up everywhere in the world. Post-corona, inflation is everywhere in the world, about 5%, as UNO says. But this particular case with PMLN, it was the most, so to say, a blue-eyed party of the establishment. It has lost favors with the establishment, and now I was told, I don't know about the final result, but on my way home, about 2,000-3,000 lead of 2,000-3,000 votes were being reported. I don't know what is the condition right now, and it is being said that PTI, I don't know, I'm not sure. I was told that PTI is set to win that seat as well. It was a very secure PMLN seat. In fact, the strategy and Mia Saab, particular advisors like Pervez Rashid's strategy and the Siddiqui Saab strategy did it both, because they did not have, and I don't think any other party, including all, they have any big social base. And when you don't have a social base, you cannot fight the establishment. There are problems with the establishment. There has been, and now establishment has gone a little bit, is on the defensive as well. And we have third consecutive democratic regime in place, and still we see that the democratic institutions haven't been strengthened as we expected them, because the basic thing, I was talking to a PPP stalwart yesterday, and what he said, it was amazing to me. He said that the era of people's politics is over. Now it's the People's Party who won all the seats in 70 or here, and this is the People's Party who was the main beneficiary of 1968-69 movement. You know, they uprooted the well-entrenched dictator. They gave us the 73 constitution. Thrice they had the government had a federal government, and now their third terms is going on, and that is because of the movement. Problem with the political elite today is that they have lost faith in the masses. Now they deal and maneuver with the with the so-called stakeholders. Who are the stakeholders? International financial establishment, local establishment, and America Bahadur, which is on the retreats, it looks like, and then other
Qazi
superpower
Sahab,
next.
sorry to cut you, but you are forgetting a very important stakeholder, that is the voter itself.
No, this is the point I am trying to make. Voter hardly matters now, because you see I cannot quote the name of that friend who's a stalwart of PTV. He said, look, the era of people's politics is gone. You see, we haven't seen a big rally after 17 October 2007 when Benazir came. After that, these are Biryani Degh's rallies over here, because there is a disconnect between this political elite and the masses at large. You ask your MNAs, MPAs, you assign them 10 to bring in 10, 12 empty buses. What happened in Mariam Nawaz rally in Lahore? Only 8,000 people turned up where they had all the seats. This is the problem. They have abandoned people's politics because of this economic setup, which this country's economy has been taken over. You can't even appoint your own governor of the state bank. So Hafiz Sheikh is who is Hafiz Sheikh? Who is
Qazi Sahab,
finance minister?
is there a divide is there a divide within PMLN right now that we are seeing?
Yes.
And is that actually undermining the party itself?
Well, there's a news that about 30 of the MPs of PMLN may write to Nawaz Sharif, and there was already a meeting before in which Mia Sahab was told plainly by their own MPs that if they go on with this kind of narrative, they will not even accept your tickets. It was reported in the media, and now it is being rumored that about 30 of the MPs may write to Mia Nawaz Sahab that we will not quit PMLN, but we will not contest the election with this kind of narrative. So there are.
So that is becoming a concern as well. Allow me to actually come back to the studio, then I'm going to come back to you in due course, sir. Javed Siddique sir, this divide within the party that you also talked about, and that is quite visible. Now, at this moment, it seems that the reports have it that when Mariam Nawaz actually went to Haveliya, she was asked that she should address only one rally in entirety of Kashmir, right? And yet she went to all the constituencies. It might have positive impact, it might have had a negative impact, but it seems that she is actually focusing on her own brand rather than the success of the party. Is it correct?
I think, yes, that's correct. I think she was instructed by her father to lead these rallies and address them because she has a charisma of a kind. And she was able to pull big crowds in Azad Kashmir. But in terms of votes, that didn't help her. Because when you talk of the electoral process itself, mobilizing voters, getting votes, the nitty-gritty of it, then you have to do something else. And that something else is door-to-door contact. And also in Azad Kashmir's context, the Baradari system. There are Sudans, there are Gujars and Chaudhries and Rajputs and all kinds of people living there.
Families,
and there are some seats in Azad Kashmir where the people or the political leadership of Azad Kashmir is very well entrenched, and it is difficult to defeat them. For instance, Barrister Sultan Mahmood is a candidate who always won the election in Azad Kashmir because he is well entrenched. Similarly, Sardar Atiq, the former Prime Minister.
Right, and he won as well.
Yes.
Both are former Prime Minister.
Exactly. The Sardar Yaqub, the former president, has won. Also, the son of the former PPP Prime Minister, Chaudhry Abdul Majid's son, Qasim Majid, has also won.
Right.
So,
this internal divide issue.
This is very important. So, holding big rallies, addressing them, and addressing the charged crowd and, giving an emotional speech there is something else. but when it comes to taking people to the polling stations and
the
getting their
dynamic
vote,
on the election
it
day
is
are
a different dynamic. It's a different ball game.
Absolutely. And one concern that I have, and we saw an implication of that as well, whatever big rallies were taking place, we didn't see any social distancing, we didn't see any mask wearing, we didn't see any precautions. In the end, Mariam Nawaz has also tested positive for COVID, right? But I want to actually come back to the question of divides within parties. If you have noticed today, Jahangir Tareen group has reactivated also because one of their members was arrested. Do you think that these divides are going to actually wreak havoc within the parties?
I think the parties are not any longer disciplined parties.
Okay.
You know, the influentials and the electables and the people who are moneyed people who are financing the crowds and the campaigns, and those who have invested money in parties and their various campaigns, they matter, and their weight is so big that they can take away things with them. So Jahangir Tareen is one of them. His opposition is terming him as an ATM of PTI.
Okay.
So similarly, all political parties have their own financiers, their ATMs.
Okay.
So their influence is
who's
very massive influence.
Who's Mian Nawaz Sharif's ATM?
I think Mian Nawaz Sharif himself is ATM, but still.
And People's Parties?
People's Party Zardari himself is ATM.
Okay.
But
not
I think,
not Malik Riaz?
No.
Or somebody
but I
of
think
that?
in PMLN, there are many ATMs. All of them are very well-off people. Okay. They are moneyed people.
Yeah, I don't want to call a human being an ATM.
No, but anyway, but I think I'm talking of the term because that has been coined and it has become very popular. So I think the
let us replace the last M of machine with man.
So
or to tell a man.
The PMLN should now focus in adopting one strategy.
Right.
Either they should adopt a confrontational line or go for an all-out reconciliation with their adversaries.
That's a very good point, Barrister Saab. Barrister Umar, let me ask you about something very important. We just mentioned Jahangir Tareen case, right, and his group. And then we also understand that PMLN's own narrative is using political heat as a proof of something that has gone awry in the legal system. But essentially all their woes, or both these parties, are essentially legal in nature. Is there a possibility that political forces cannot co-opt the system to get relief from the legal system?
Well, I think ultimately it comes to the legal system. So the legal system can be improved if you think that there are some loopholes that can be filled through the parliament. So if somebody has majority in the parliament, the loopholes can be filled, and the legal system is something to which everybody comes, like be it the government, be it all these pressure groups, and like even the opposition. So I think the more legislation needs to be done if somebody thinks, or the ruling party thinks that
what
there
do
is
you
something.
do? We are talking about parameters of constitution and democracy. It's a parliament which is hung parliament. Yes. The government cannot lose any block. The opposition cannot actually afford to lose any MP, MNA from its side either. So how do you actually propose that these people who might have within their ranks certain pressure groups who are hell-bent on hiding their own crime, if there is crime, how do you propose that they actually legislate something to ensure that they get caught?
Well, then the thing comes that the Prime Minister has been saying that he would not leave any corrupt person, and all the inquiries and all this. The FIA is there, the laws are there, the inquiries are there, but we have not seen any improvement in that or any result of that. Be it the sugar scandal, be it the wheat scandal, we have seen that the people are just not even gone to jail, or maybe
no, Mian Nawaz Sharif went to the jail, and then surprise, he walks out.
But still,
despite being a convict who is serving his sentence, he goes abroad and now he is acting as a statesman once again.
No, but a judgment is there against him. If he comes back, the recent judgment was given by the Islamabad High Court says that if he comes back, he will have to surrender before the court, and he will go to jail unless that judgment is suspended.
That's a big if.
that there is a big if. But the thing is that still there is a judgment against him. But the problem here is that the person who were involved in wheat scandal and the sugar scandal and all those scandals and this inflation and all that, they have not even gone to, there is no inquiry against them, there is no FIR against them, there is no inquiry, even the head of the FIA has been changed. We have recently seen.
Right.
The head of FIA was changed because
but hang on.
Yeah.
Judges, even in Mian Nawaz Sharif case, we saw turbulence there as well.
Yeah.
And perhaps if you're a lawyer, if I want relief, at least there can be inquiry officer can be changed, right? But my problem is, why is it that NAB has been investigating people for so much time? They haven't been able to bring cases to a closure. You talked about FIA. Why is it, if corruption is such a big issue, why is it that our system doesn't ensure that political clout will not stop investigations?
One of the big reasons is that the accountability is being politicized. Whoever is in the government wants the opposition to be tried, not regardless of the fact that whether there is some substance or any case behind the face or not. So he's not opposition, but then what we have seen is that he made a pressure group and he came and we have seen everything. What has happened.
Okay, you're implying too much.
No, I'm not implying too much. What I'm trying to say is that basically that these things which Prime Minister has been saying number of times, that he will not leave anyone, all that, and everything is just
the story is still not over because the Prime Minister still has 2 years of term. We'll see how that translates during the election or before that. Barrister Kalon, let me ask you about this. Why is it at this moment, why does it seem that focus keeps on shifting between accountability and governance? What is going to be your focus right now, your party's, your government's focus in coming days? Is it going to be accountability? If that is so, what happens to the cases that were mentioned?
Areas of trade and investment, welfare of Pakistani diaspora in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, regional situation, and peace in Afghanistan were discussed. The two foreign ministers during their meeting expressed satisfaction on the ongoing work related to the Saudi-Pakistan Supreme Coordination Council, which is aimed at imparting strategic direction to the development of Pakistan-Saudi relations. Foreign Minister Qureshi offered Pakistan's full support in realization of Saudi Arabia's Vision 2030, including by sharing of experience and provision of requisite professional and technical manpower. The Foreign Minister also highlighted the transformational China-Pakistan Economic Corridor Initiative and noted the vast opportunities for investment in the special economic zones being developed under CPEC. Foreign Minister Qureshi highlighted the current situation in the Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir and the unabated violations of human rights being committed by the Indian occupation forces. Discussing the situation in Afghanistan, the Foreign Minister apprised his Saudi counterpart about Pakistan's continuing efforts for an inclusive, broad-based, and comprehensive political settlement in Afghanistan. Foreign Minister Shah Mahmood Qureshi is currently in Bahrain for a 2-day official visit. The Foreign Minister in Bahrain co-chaired with his Bahraini counterpart the second session of Pakistan-Bahrain Joint Ministerial Commission. During the GMC, Foreign Minister Qureshi highlighted the long-standing relations between Pakistan and Bahrain, characterized by a spirit of friendship and solidarity. He further observed that the experience and expertise acquired by both countries in many spheres over time could be shared for their mutual benefit. Both countries held fruitful discussions and agreed to work together for enhanced business-to-business interaction between the two sides, early finalization of the MOU between Trade Development Authority of Pakistan and Bahrain Tourism and Exhibition Authority, and increased cooperation for joint investment in industrial sector and holding expert-level meetings of joint working groups in agriculture, trade and investment, labor and manpower, oil and gas, and IT sectors. During the visit, Foreign Minister also met with the Interior Minister and called on the Crown Prince and the Deputy Prime Minister of Bahrain. During these meetings, wide-ranging discussions were held on a number of issues of mutual interest between the two countries. Earlier, during this week, the Foreign Minister visited China to attend the third session of Foreign Ministers' strategic dialogue between Pakistan and China. Foreign Minister Shah Mahmood Qureshi and Chinese Foreign Minister and State Councillor Wang Yi exchanged views on bilateral strategic, economic and security cooperation, COVID-19 pandemic, and international and regional issues of mutual interest. The Chinese side reaffirmed its firm support to Pakistan in safeguarding its territorial integrity, sovereignty, and independence. China reiterated that the Kashmir dispute should be resolved peacefully through the UN Charter, relevant UN Security Council resolutions, and bilateral agreements. The two countries reaffirmed their commitment to continue to firmly advance the construction of CPEC, ensure timely completion of under construction projects, and reviewed with satisfaction the remarkable achievements of CPEC. Both sides reaffirmed their commitment to facilitate and support the Afghan-led and Afghan-owned peace process. Now, coming to the situation in the region, we have noted with serious concern and condemn in strongest possible terms the Indian government's recently exposed organized spying operations using an Israeli origin spyware Pegasus. The reported targets of these massive spying operations included journalists, politicians, human rights activists, business executives, public health experts, foreign diplomats in India, and the Kashmiri leaders. Reportedly, the targeted telephones also included at least one telephone number used by Prime Minister Imran Khan, as well as hundreds of others in Pakistan. Keeping a clandestine tab on dissenting voices is a long-standing textbook ploy of the RSS BJP regime. The world has seen the true face of the so-called Indian democracy when the reports of EU Disinfo Lab Indian Chronicles surfaced last year. In view of the gravity of these reports, we call on the relevant UN bodies to thoroughly investigate the matter, bring the facts to light, and hold the Indian perpetrators to account. On the situation in the Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir, 5th August 2021 would mark the completion of an unprecedented 24-month-long military siege and draconian curbs on the fundamental rights and freedoms of Kashmiri people in the aftermath of India's illegal and unilateral actions. In keeping with its long-held tradition of peddling false propaganda, India is trying to push the sham narrative of so-called normalcy in IIOJK. However, the situation on the ground points to the contrary. To this day, Kashmiri leadership remains incarcerated under trumped-up charges. Extrajudicial killings, arbitrary detentions, staged cordon and search operations, and custodial torture by the Indian occupation forces continue with impunity. The Indian government continues pushing its agenda of turning the Kashmiris into a minority in their own homeland through illegal changes in the demographic structure of the occupied territory. The past 2 years have been marked by Pakistan's efforts to firmly oppose the unilateral and illegal Indian actions of 5th August 2019. We have used every platform to highlight the legal, humanitarian, and peace and security dimension of the dispute. The United Nations Security Council has discussed the issue of Jammu and Kashmir at least 3 times since 5th August 2019. The Office of the UN High Commissioner for Human Rights has issued 2 reports in 2018 and 19 making specific recommendations, including the institution of an independent commission of inquiry to investigate the gross and systematic human rights violations by India in the occupied territory. The global parliaments have debated the issue of Jammu and Kashmir several times. The international human rights and humanitarian organizations, as well as the global media, have consistently raised the issue of human rights violations in IIOJK. We once again call upon the international community to urge the government of India to reverse its illegal and unilateral actions of 5th August 2019, lift the continuing inhuman military siege in IIOJK, remove restrictions on communications, movement, and peaceful assembly, release the incarcerated Kashmiri leaders and allow them to express the wishes of the Kashmiri people, free arbitrarily and illegally detained Kashmiri youth, reverse the new domicile rules designed to change the demographic structure of the occupied territory, remove the draconian laws granting impunity to the Indian occupation forces, stop sponsoring terrorism against the people of Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir, desist from any further actions in IIOJK to perpetuate India's illegal occupation, and to fulfill its obligation of holding a free and impartial plebiscite under the UN auspices to let the Kashmiris exercise their inalienable right to self-determination as enshrined in the relevant UNSC resolutions. On its part, the government and the people of Pakistan will continue to stand with the Kashmiris in their just struggle till the realization of their right to self-determination. I thank you, and I'm happy to take questions on these or other foreign policy related developments. Sir.
Large-scale privatization has created cartels. They are untouchable. In my program, Jahangir Tareen said that he has 35 MPs in his pocket. He can topple the government. If the establishment allows him, he can topple the government. So you cannot conduct a fair accountability of any of the members of the elite in such an environment. Asad.
Right. So what if you are going to actually hold everybody accountable and they have power groups or pressure groups within parliament and within parties, how do you propose you actually go across and do that? Because at this moment it seems that there are parties that will threaten the various political dispensations just to get their way. On the other side, you said that opposition keeps on asking for concessions. Shehbaz Sharif is, as you pointed out yourself, is actually fighting for ascendancy within his own party. So maybe actually reaching across the aisle might be able to empower him, and he might actually render the cooperation that the government needs. Qazi sir.
Look, the main problem is which I mentioned earlier in the first instance. They have ताकत का सरचश्मा आवाम है is gone long ago. Now this is the wrangling between the elite over the pie or the part of the pie they are fighting for. Nawaz Sharif says, look, if I have more money than my resources, what to you? Who are you to ask? This is the mindset. And now we are we have stepped into a very difficult world, post-corona world. There is a recession. There is a huge recession. There is no discussion on that. You know, there is globalization is being there is a lot of changes that are taking place. There's no serious discussion on the serious matters. Inflation is on the rise, but they are fighting over their own issues and they are trying to save their own skin. This is the long and short
So
of it.
no outreach towards the opposition. Allow me to come back to the studio, Javed Sadiq Saab.